Let's take a look at week 9 for fantasy basketball. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and I've received an awful lot of positive feedback from my face. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Also, thank you for double banging the show and watching on video and listening on audio and leaving comments and subscribing and all of that stuff, which is very, very positive and beneficial and useful for the show. So that is great that you're able to do that. All right, so a little scheduling announcement for me. I'm recording this show on Thursday evening States time because I have to head away for a couple of days to an interstate wedding. So normally I would record this show on a Saturday evening. It would post for me on a Sunday morning, and it would be previewing the next week. So it's a couple of days in advance. So the usual scheduling show that I do is going to be somewhat different. And that is because, I'm going to do most of the things, but I'm not going to be telling you, hey, this guy might be in and might be out because he's injured, because there's going to be 2 days that pass before this show actually publishes, and you won't see that. And so that'll make no sense to do that. Or for me to give specific, hey, these are a really interesting weekly league lock player, because, again, there's going to be multiple games that have gone on since I do this. So for all of the latest up-to-date injury news and weekly projections, basketballmonster.com is going to have those things. They're just not going to be included in this video, so just be aware of that. I also thought that I would be able to have some time to do a preview of Saturday's NBA Cup semifinals from fantasy streaming perspective. I don't think I'm going to have the time to do that, so just be aware there may not be a single show that releases. Well, actually, you already know, because I'm releasing this after that. So yeah, you already know whether that's happening or not. I'll give that little disclaimer in the show that's going to come after this, but recorded after this, but released before. That's all too much time machine stuff. So yeah, just be aware that I'm recording this one in advance, so it's just slightly less because it's 2 days before it would normally pop out, even though the schedule is going to be the same. And that brings me to the next point. I know you're going to have questions about what the schedule is, so let's just address a couple of those things right now. This is week 9 of the NBA calendar. If you are playing on Yahoo, this is your week 8 matchup. If you are playing in the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Bowl, or if you happen to be an industry pickup, this is the second half of our week 8 matchup. If you are playing on ESPN or any other format, this is actually week 9 of matchups, and that is where the week numbers do get confusing. So we're talking about the games from the 16th of December through to the 22nd of December. There will be no extra games added into this week. The NBA Cup final is on Tuesday, and that game does not count for fantasy. So we understand where we're at now. December 16 to December 22. Week 9. Might be week 8 on Yahoo. Might be week 9 somewhere else. It is that 7-day period. There is an NBA Cup game on Tuesday, and that does not count for fantasy. Got it? Bang. So let's talk about the weekly schedule, because we are heading back into normality. We are heading back into, we're not there yet. We're heading back into regular sort of scheduling, which is coming up, but we're not quite there yet. So let's take a look at this schedule for the week. Let's have a look at where we sit with where the games are played and how many are on each day. And the answer to that is we start the week pretty light again for the second consecutive week. There are 6 games on Monday. There are 0 games on Tuesday. That is the NBA Cup final, and that does not count for fantasy. That will include, and by the time you're watching this, you might actually know the answer to this. That will include the winner of Milwaukee and Atlanta and the winner of Oklahoma City and Houston. They will play on Tuesday, but it will not count for fantasy. From now on, no more games are being added into the schedule. The schedule is done. So we play 6 on Monday, 0 fantasy games on Tuesday, 0 total games on Wednesday. And then it's back to normal. Except it's sort of flip-flopped. Usually we're going to get a big volume Friday, a solid volume Saturday, not many games on Thursday, lowish to mid sort of on Sunday, but that's not how we're doing it this week. It's 13 games Thursday, 3 games Friday, 12 games on Saturday, and 3 games on Sunday to end out the week. What about volume of games? How does that all play out with these teams? Well, there's only one team that plays 4 games this week, and that is your Sacramento Kings. That is the only team playing 1 game. So there you go. So your Kings have got the advantage here because the vast majority of teams, and it's a relatively vast majority, 17 teams play 2 games and 12 teams play 3 games. So it's Sacramento with 4. And then it's Brooklyn, Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Denver, Detroit, the Clippers, Miami, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Toronto, and Utah. All of those teams play 3 games. And everybody else plays 2. Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Golden State, Houston, Indiana, the Lakers, Memphis, Milwaukee, Minnesota, New York, Oklahoma City, Orlando, Phoenix, Portland, San Antonio, and Washington all have 2 games. Now, you'll notice some of those team names in there. Houston, Oklahoma City, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. Some of those teams will play 3, but only 2 will count, and that is not changing. So we've got 1 team playing 4, 12 teams playing 3, and 17 teams playing 2 games during the week. So your Kings get an advantage over everybody this week, a big advantage. Over 17 different teams, they double the games up. So this is where a Keegan Murray, a Kevin Huerter, obviously Malik Monk's being rostered, but even like if Keon Ellis gets into those games, like Isaac Jones or even maybe a Jay Crowder, they are relatively thin in terms of the way the Kings run things, but that is how that roster of games is going to play out for the coming week. That's where we sit with that. So again, absorb that. 1 team plays 4 games, 12 teams play 3, and 17 teams play 2 games for the week. Let's come back and talk quality games. Let's come back and talk streaming. But today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood Gold. With Robinhood Gold, you don't need one of those silver spoons placed wherever you want it to be to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. How soft is silver as a metal? I'm not really sure, because I'd imagine silver spoons are fine. So imagine it was like a zinc spoon. You eat it and then it bends, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Robinhood, actually, not metallurgy, which is that a real word? That's a real word, and I think it's the right usage, but Robinhood doesn't care about that. They just want you to get the rates and the perks that are usually reserved for high society. Anyone who's resourceful, any of you blokes out there who are resourceful, you can get involved with Robinhood Gold and get the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. These generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply. For product-specific disclosures, visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. All right, so let's go and have a look at where the quality games sit for the week. And I think you should know by now just by looking at those dates and those game numbers that I put up before. But if you don't, here we go. Monday is a quality game day. Friday is a quality game day. And Sunday is a quality game day. 6, 3, and 3. The other 2 game days are a 13-game Thursday and a 12-game Saturday. So the days that we would attack to stream is the Monday, Friday, Sunday. There are a bunch of teams, actually, who do play 2 quality games per week. No one's got 3. There are a bunch that play 2. Sacramento, who have the 4 games total for the week. And then it's Charlotte, Cleveland, Denver, Miami, Philadelphia, and Toronto all have 2 quality games for the week. There's a bunch of teams that have 1. Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, the Warriors, Lakers, Memphis, Minnesota, the Knicks, Orlando, Phoenix, Portland, San Antonio, and Washington. They have 1 quality game. The other teams do not have any, meaning they play Thursday and Saturday, and that is it. So if you're streaming those guys in, you're not going to use them most likely. So if you're looking to get a Detroit player to stream in, maybe that is Asar Thompson, maybe it's Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren's risk keeps him out. Maybe it's Tim Hardaway. Well, they'll just sit on your bench and do nothing. They'll rot. You won't use them. But if you're looking to say, hey, there's some weirdness going on Toronto, why is John Mobo starting? Hey, they've actually got 2 quality games next week. Not a bad one to have a look at. In Charlotte, do I have I'm going to hold Mark Williams, but Nick Richards maintains value in that spot. Vasiljevic, even though LaMelo Ball is probably going to be returning. Is there a value there? Is there value in the winter soldier Max Strus with 2 quality games? I'm not sure there is, but maybe. Maybe. But that's how we look at in terms of who's got the games that are going to be more usable. Now, in terms of a streaming type scenario, I don't think it's really anything that you need to specifically get aggressive and plan out. And we'll talk about back-to-backs and all that stuff coming up in a sec. But to me, this is another stash week. We've only got three quality game days because there's 2 days that aren't game days at all. So it's Monday, Friday, Sunday. Now, you can look at Charlotte early in the week and go, all right, I'm going to get a Charlotte player. And here they play Monday and they play Friday. They're the only team that plays Monday and Friday together. Remember, we're skipping Thursday because there's 13 games on, not a streaming day. So you could get a Hornets guy, go Monday and Friday. And then what do you do with the other 3 moves? Saturday's got 12 games on, so not really that interesting. And then Sunday's 3, so you add a Sunday player, I guess. But that's not a real, massive stream advantage there, is it? So using some of your ads to take guys who you think are going to have big jumps up, or you want to just hold to see where it goes. Because it's just going to be, realistically, add someone Monday, add someone Friday, add someone Sunday. You can do a Charlotte Monday, Friday back-to-back, but you're not actually gaining anything because you're not going to really run out of moves, I don't think, during the week. So, the week, it sets up with some quality games, but there's no specific massive advantage to really planning it out and going, well, I'm going to get Charlotte early in the week. I don't think there's a big advantage to that. Because, again, you're just going to be ending up with, okay, that's cool. Now I've got, 3 more ads for Sunday. Am I actually going to use 3 roster spots to add extra players in? Probably not. And I think the value would have been to get the best guy on Monday and then separately the best guy on Friday, which is not necessarily the same player that you would try on a Monday, Friday pseudo back-to-back from Charlotte. Does that all make sense? It is. The clear thing is, hey, Charlotte, Monday, Friday, let's add a Charlotte Hornets player. But you're going to have leftover ads anyway. So you're either stashing guys or you're just using them one game on and just grab someone here, grab someone here. Or it's a longer-term view into future weeks. That's how I would approach this week in terms of streaming. If you've got multiple roster spots or you're on an ESPN league and you've got 7 ads, you go ham. Have 2 streaming slots. Add extra guys in, but you still got that ability with only 3 days of streaming there possible and no massive, gigantic games advantage in terms of the positioning. You're just adding sort of guys when it appears. That's how I think that we should be approaching this week. Again, if you want to have a different approach, I think there are different ways you can go about it, but that's not the way that I would go about it. What are the quirks in the schedule this week? There are quite a few. Obviously, the big quirk is going to be that there's just no games on Tuesday and Wednesday. Nothing's happening. There's no games there, so there we go. And you've got, then that leads into a 13-game Thursday, which is not really at all a streamable day. In terms of the quirkiness of it, there's only one team that does not play on Saturday or Sunday, and that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. So their week is going to be over by the time you get to the weekend. And that's interesting because there are a lot of streaming sort of options on the Thunder, like Dort or a Caruso or a Wallace or a Joe. Although Wallace looks like a hold, Caruso might be. And if you wanted to move on, you wouldn't do it for Saturday with only 12 games on. You'd be considering that and doing that in for Sunday maybe. The only team that has the extreme delayed start to the week is the Bucks. And it won't seem like that if they make the NBA Cup final because they'll play on Tuesday. But for us, if we've got Giannis or Middleton or Dame or whatever, we won't use a Bucks player until the 3-game Friday. So that's the only team that impacts. Everybody else has got a game either Monday or on Thursday. The Bucks do not play until Friday. But that means they play Friday and they play Saturday, I think. I believe it's Saturday they play. Or maybe it's Friday, Sunday they play. So that's what we're looking at in terms of the quirkiness of that part of the schedule. If we take a look at where the 3-game in 4-night periods, run, I'm not going to use exact 4-night periods because what's the point when there are 2 0-game days? So let's do Sunday to Friday. That is a 4-game night period. There is one team who plays 3 games in that 4-game night period, and it is your Charlotte Hornets, who we know have got the Monday game, they've got the Friday game, and they've got the Sunday game. All right? Is that true? Yeah, no, that's not true. Sorry, my bad. They've got the Monday game, the Thursday game, and the Friday game. So they actually play 3 game days in a row, the Charlotte Hornets. And that's the only team that has those 3 game days in a row. So there's only, start of the week, there's the Hornets have got that little boost of a schedule, remembering that Thursday's a big volume day. Monday to Saturday, there are a lot of 3-game in 4-night teams, except the problem here is that includes a 13-game Thursday and a 12-game Saturday. So Brooklyn, Charlotte, Chicago, Cleveland, Detroit, the Clippers, Miami, Philadelphia, Sacramento, and Utah play 3 games in 4 game nights between Monday and Saturday. But there's a lot of high volume stuff in there. And then to end the week, this is where, again, the focus can be. Thursday through to Sunday, the Kings, who have 4 games for the week, and the Pelicans, who they're playing each other today, actually, on Thursday. They play 3 games in 4 nights, which is a true 3-game in 4 night to end the week. They've also got the weekend back-to-back there as well. Remembering, Saturday is a 12-gamer, and Thursday is a 13-game day. So they both play Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So the streamability is not as high as you might think it is. If we look at which teams have got 4 games in 6 nights, 6 game nights that is, including the Sunday of week 8 through to the Sunday of week 9, we already know it's Sacramento because they've got 4 games during the actual week of week 9, but the Pelicans play on the Sunday as well. So over the next 6 NBA game nights, both of these teams have got 4 games. They've got the 3-game in 4 night to end the week. They have the weekend back-to-back. So the schedule is favoring, especially towards the end, the Pelicans and the Kings in terms of giving us some sort of an advantage there. We're going to come back and look at back-to-backs to finish off this little week preview. But before I go and do that, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Right now, you can get ready to tackle all of the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers can go and bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win that first $5 bet. The FanDuel Sportsbook app is whatever you want it to be. It's there to give all that information you need, live betting the NFL, live game stats, live play-by-play, all of the odds constantly updating on the FanDuel app. So when you're ready to go and make that live bet on the NFL action, open up your FanDuel app, but make sure you've gone to FanDuel.com and joined up. And then when you place that first $5 bet and it wins, you win yourself $150 in bonus bets back. So never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And don't forget to gamble responsibly. Okay, so we're going to head back in and just take a look at some back-to-back action. And again, because of the way the schedule is playing out, it's not all going to be true back-to-backs. We're looking at how it's a functional back-to-back, a pseudo back-to-back. There's no Sunday-Monday back-to-back. There is Monday and Thursday is the first back-to-back, which is obviously not a real back-to-back, but it's with no games Tuesday, Wednesday, that's 2 game days in a row. The problem here being is you don't gain the advantage because there are 13 games on Thursday. But the teams that do it, Brooklyn, Charlotte, Chicago, Denver, Detroit, the Clippers, Sacramento, Toronto, and Utah. Where we get a little bit more interesting is Monday to Friday. And you will say Monday to Friday is not a back-to-back, Joss. And that's true, but it also is. Because it's the first usable game of the week on Monday. It's the second usable day of the week on Friday. So you're skipping Tuesday with 0, you're skipping Wednesday with 0, you're skipping Thursday with 13. So if you have a Charlotte player, a Miami player, and a Philadelphia player, they're the ones who play Monday and Friday, remembering that Charlotte also plays Thursday in there, even though you're not going to be adding a Cody Martin for that and using him most likely. But you will use him Monday and Friday. Same with Heat guys, same with Sixers players. Thursday to Friday is a real back-to-back, but there's 13 games on Thursday, and that includes the Charlotte Hornets and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not really doing a huge amount with that, apart from the guys that play on Friday. There's a little bit of targetability there. And then we have another real back-to-back, which is Friday through to Saturday. Again, the problem being that Saturday has 12 games on. So whether you're adding a guy to play that back-to-back, will you even use them on Saturday? You can answer that question. I can't. But the odds would suggest you probably can't do it. There are 4 teams that do it. Cleveland, Miami, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia. They play Friday. They also play on a 12-game Saturday. And the last back-to-back we look at is the weekend one. That is Saturday to Sunday. There's no one that plays Friday and Sunday together, so you can forget about that pseudo back-to-back. Saturday, 12 games. Sunday, 3. It's the Pelicans. It's the Kings, and this is why, again, streaming this week is not a supremely defined science. It's about taking cracks at blokes because you're not going to gain a games played advantage and maximize those games because it just isn't a possibility for the vast majority of you. But the Pelicans and the Kings play on that weekend back to back. Now, normally I'd come through here and say, well, here's the injured guys to pay attention to. I'm not going to do it. We are too far out for me to give that sort of information. So I just wanted to give you an overview. Remind you again, no games are being added to this week. That part of the schedule is finished. There are no games added. There's nothing on Tuesday that counts for fantasy. There's nothing at all on Wednesday. And then we've got the overload Thursday. We've got the overload Saturday. So more time of individual spot streaming, more time of individual, hey, let's stash this guy and see what happens as we get back to a regularly scheduled type of NBA situation. So, let me know how you're going. Let me know what's going on in your life. What are you up to? And in the meantime, give me a thumb up while you're doing it, but just give me a comment. Tell me something that's going on. And remember, we're always wanting to focus here on the good. Right? We might say, this sucks. The NBA Cup is terrible. It's ruined fantasy. Just look at it on the bright side. It gives your team a couple of extra days to get healthy. It gives us a chance to sort of reset and look at our teams and just go, all right, maybe I'm doing this, maybe I'm doing that. That's all good. Not everything is all good, but an extreme focus on negative, it's not healthy for anybody. And it's not healthy for you when you're talking about yourself or your friends as well. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.